I was them and will be continuing, and the fun is only beginning. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Hello and welcome to Don't Bury the Lead. We recap WWE Smackdown every Friday night after the bell. My name's Jonathan Dell. I'm joined by Dom Scarcella. Dom, go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
It's officially the summertime here in southern New Jersey. It is hot out. We'll hear more about that later. So it's a jacketless Don't Bury the Lead for you and I. And hey, there's a lot of heat going on in the ring as well. So without further ado, John, don't bury the lead. What's our top story for SmackDown from June 21st?
Dom, we don't ever bury the lead. And the lead is going to be the main event. We have Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes in the main event with just about 10 minutes left before SmackDown goes off air. And they say, oh, we'll go long if we have to. So Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa wrestle for a few minutes before there's a big schmaz. The bloodline comes out, and they proceed to start to beat down Cody Rhodes. They throw the match out. Then Randy Orton comes down for the save. And once Randy Orton comes down for the save, we have a premiere of Jakob Fatu as they have Solo Sikoa in the corner, and he can't get away. But Jakob Fatu comes in, premieres in the WWE, and the Chicago crowd chants, "Holy shit." So this must be a guy. So we see this series of events, and Jakob Fatu wrecks everyone, and the bloodline stands strong. Dom, what did you think about this main event segment?
You already mentioned one fun thing, which was the announce crew saying Fox has allowed us to go long for the conclusion of this match, pretending that we were going to get a real match that started at 9:51 p.m. on the East Coast, when SmackDown usually is off the air at 9:58. Mm-hmm. They wrestled 2 minutes before the DQ happens. Two things I like about this main event, even though it wasn't a real match. Number one, I like the Cody Rhodes title reign, that he's a fighting champion. We've talked about some of the things I haven't liked about the character, but I do like the fact that he's on TV and he wrestles. He doesn't just show up to talk and save it for the pay-per-views. We get Cody Rhodes action, physicality, sometimes actual matches on SmackDown. I think that's a really cool departure from the Roman Reigns era there, where Roman was a throwback to the 1980s, where you're not getting at this stuff on free TV. Buy a ticket,
Yes.
Cody is more of a throwback to the Monday Night Wars, when in order to compete on primetime television, they realize we got to put our best people out there every now and then.
Yeah,
so I like seeing Cody, and Cody's almost become the Gunter, the guy, the top card guy who wrestles on SmackDown, because Logan Paul doesn't. And we don't really get a lot of women's title matches. We're not seeing tag team title matches. So it's Cody. So if that's going to be the plan going forward, that Cody's a fighting champion, I'll take it. That's a good change of pace from the Roman Reigns era. The second thing I want to call out is no one can replace Roman Reigns. I mean, Cody's not doing with the title reign, but he's doing his own thing, which is good. Same thing's happening with the bloodline. No one's going to replace Roman Reigns. But I like this new bloodline with now these 4 guys.
Yeah.
I think they're formidable. I think they can wrestle. Jakob Fatu, I have heard his name before. I'm not sure which promotion he had wrestled for prior to coming to WWE.
I cheated and Googled them. It's MLW,
Major League Wrestling. I was going to guess something like that because I didn't think it was NWA. You would have known it if it was AEW, and I also don't think it was TNA. So yeah, I was going to guess Major League Wrestling. Yes. So And for a guy who's coming from a smaller promotion, when he steps in the ring tonight, he looks like he belongs. He has the size of any of these guys. I mean, he's bigger than Tamatanga or Tangaloa. He's about the same size as Solo Sikoa. And he does this top turnbuckle splash on Cody Rhodes through the announce table to kind of finish off the physicality tonight. He looks like he belongs. I like the new bloodline. I like that they're not trying to restart the Roman Reigns era, either with the champion or with the bloodline. So even though this wasn't a match as the main event, I think it was important for driving home a couple of very key points that I think are going to keep this from getting stale. I mean, what say you? I'm obviously not going to, go into blow by blow of a 2-minute match before the DQ came in. But what say you about the angles we're seeing?
Yeah, I was impressed with Jakob Fatu for sure, not knowing who he was, but then you just saw his look and his face and his mannerisms. You're like, yeah, perfect. This guy's good. Big, crazy Samoan guy, crazy looking hair, beating the hell out of everyone, and nailed the splash.
Yes.
I mean, that's got to be pretty nerve-wracking. You're going from MLW to Smackdown, main event. All the guys are there. You're in Chicago, So he looked good.
Yes. That can't be easy.
Oh, no. And right. It's not like he could slow down, ease himself in. He's got like a 25-minute match, and he can warm up. No, he had to go in a million miles an hour.
Yep.
Did you see the botch?
Which one?
When Fatu goes to put Orton through the side
barricade
panel. Yeah, the barricade.
I did not totally see that. I was typing notes and they just quick cut to it, and I saw Orton through the barricade.
Yes. Well, basically what happened was he hits the barricade and it did not break. So they must have not pulled something.
Pulled one of the bars, yep.
And he goes, shit. Orton. He took a stiff bump there.
Yes, that's gotta hurt. That's real. It's a little too real there for Randy Orton.
Yeah. So he took a shot to the ribs and stomach, and he's not the youngest guy in the world. And also, Fatu was going a mile a minute, destroying everyone. So he wasn't trying to take it easy on that shot.
That couldn't have been good for Fatu either. And that's one of those things that's dangerous. If you're told this thing is going to give way, so you have to hit him hard, and then the thing doesn't give way, well, now you've given up some of the protection that you would normally give to yourself and the other guy in the move in order to hit that.
Yeah, you're thinking it's just going to collapse. So the real impact is going to be when you land correctly. Not really when you're taking the initial impact. So, yeah.
They're also probably telling you, hit him good, because you're really going to hit the barricade and push that through both of you, and then you hit the barricade and it doesn't move.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that couldn't have been good for either guy. I mean, Randy just had to lie there afterwards. Fatu had to get up and still do more stuff.
Right.
I'm impressed with the splash onto the announce table, because the thing about those splashes in the ring is you have space to land on your own knees and elbows. There's not a lot of real estate to do that on the announce table. I mean, that's got to be tough on both guys, because Fatu can't brace himself like he normally would against the ring landing on the announce table. And that means that Cody Rhodes, isn't just going to sit there and be like, oh, he's barely going to touch me. No, he's going to land on you. There's no way for him to prevent that. Or as much. So but both guys going through the announce table like that, that's a big shot. And that's one where I'm sure they're glad that the table was rigged properly to give a little bit and absorb some of the energy.
For sure. And then anything else you want to talk about with this main event?
It's not particularly the main event. It's just more of Solo Sikoa. The more he gets a chance to talk, the more I like him. He's way ahead of where Roman Reigns was at a similar point in their careers. And maybe at a similar point in their bloodline runs.
Yeah, and he's not getting as much assistance as Heyman as Roman did.
No,
Heyman
Heyman's
has
playing off of him.
Yeah, yes, exactly. He's building himself a little bit more. Like the wise man would do a lot of the talking for Roman, and then Roman
Yep.
would take the mic and be like, "Oh man, wise man's done talking." But now it's like it's his bloodline. Heyman is just getting the pushed around manager.
Yep. Now Heyman's still wonderful in that role, and he's very important because Heyman's reactions make Solo Sikoa look more formidable, and Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. So Heyman's still carrying a lot of weight here.
He's still the king.
But yes, but this is Solo Sikoa really doing a good job. He's less than 2 years on the main roster still. I think it was an August or July debut from 2022. It's June 2024. So Solo Sikoa is slowly winning me over, which he was supposed to do. It's like you're wondering, okay, can he carry this? And it looks like so far he is. So I like Solo. I like what he's doing. I like the new bloodline, and I like that Cody Rhodes is a fighting champion who we get to see on primetime television.
Yeah, and you worry about people like Solo Sikoa because you're like, you don't want to push him too fast, right?
Mhm.
And have this thing where he sucks, but he's totally delivered, from a character standpoint. And then he's always been really good in the ring. He just reminds me of a young Samoa Joe, which is like quite the compliment, right?
That is, yes. X Division champion in TNA Impact.
Yes, and AEW champion just a bit ago.
Yep.
A champion wherever he goes, Samoa Joe. But
yep, Ring of Honor. Yep.
Yeah. So, but I digress. Anything else from this main event, Dom?
No, sir. Let's keep it moving to the follow. Where do you want to go next in this this SmackDown that had 3 other matches, but also some big stuff that wasn't a match?
I don't know if you want to connect the main event with the opening segment. I think that's always a good way to do the follow.
Sure, let's do that, and then that'll maybe take us into another segment. This starts in Chicago, and WWE cannot resist having CM Punk come out in Chicago, even though CM Punk is supposed to be on Raw, not SmackDown. So there's CM Punk in Chicago, and as he's out there talking to open the show, I'm writing in my notes, I can't stand him. So if he's supposed to be a heel, it's working.
Oh, wow.
But it looks like he's supposed to be a heel, so maybe it's working. So maybe it's a shoot and a work. But yeah, I can't stand CM Punk. So Paul Heyman comes to the ring and tries to warn Punk that Solo Sikoa is looking to ambush him because he doesn't like all the notoriety that Punk is getting because they're in Chicago. And Punk is kind of not quite taking Paul Heyman's warning, and that's when Solo and the two Tongas walk out. And they try to intimidate Punk, and it doesn't work verbally. So they slowly enter the ring. But that's when Cody Rhodes shows up from the crowd with 2 black baseball bats. And I'm getting Sting flashbacks with DDP.
Yeah.
It's Sting saving Diamond Dallas Page and handing him a bat as he also wields one. Back in the WCW days in Monday Nitro.
Oh, that's what that was a call. I'm like, why does he have bats?
Oh, yes.
Didn't get it. I didn't know what the callback was. Okay.
Oh, yes. It was Sting saving DDP from the NWO. And he did it not just by showing up, but by handing DDP a bat and then pulling out another one for himself. It was kind of like, he was kind of anointing DDP as, okay, you're my equal. I will stand with you. We'll each have the bat and face down the larger faction. Mm-hmm. See, that was a neat little callback there for me, and Cody challenges a retreating Solo Sikoa to a match, and that sets up our main event, and it also sets up, just a lot of intrigue that CM Punk is back. He was running down Drew McIntyre for the whole time before Paul Heyman came out there to interrupt him, and that leads to something else later on. What did you think of CM Punk? Did you like him more than I did? Because I was really going for like, oh, this guy is, and it's not even like Dominic Mysterio heat where you just love to boo him. This was like, I can't stand this guy.
Yeah. not a big CM Punk fan either.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I have to admit, I'm kind of in the same boat where I was like, all right, he's here. He's in Chicago. He's going to get cheered. I do want to give credit to the crowd, who was amazing tonight.
Okay.
And they really exploded for CM Punk. But yeah, it does sort of feel like he's a heel at this point. I'd be interested to get your take a little bit more because for me, I watched him so much in AEW that he's a little stale at this point.
Okay.
So he's almost stale for me. But I don't know what do you think of CM Punk so far in the WWE?
They're simultaneously playing off his history in the WWE and some of his more contemporary reputation in AEW, that he's a troublemaker.
Mhm.
And okay, so he's showing up and he's a troublemaker. I don't know. It's just not clicking with me because at the same time he's trying to be the troublemaker who thinks he's the babyface. This is beyond even like Scott Hall. I'll make another NWO callback. This is even beyond Scott Hall being like another win for the good guys.
Yeah.
Like trying to play up the fact that they're really the good guys even though they're the heels. The Chicago crowd, if anything, I think gets in the way of it. Because if they're trying to play that CM Punk is a heel, the Chicago crowd is obviously not letting them do that.
Mhm.
On the other hand, if they're trying to play CM Punk in Chicago to present him as a babyface, does that hold when he's not in Chicago? This is almost like, Bret Hart and Owen Hart and the Hart Foundation when they go to Canada, they get cheered. And there was that run there late in Bret's WWE career when everywhere else he was a heel until they went to Canada and then he was a babyface.
Mhm.
This is becoming CM Punk's Canada.
Right.
Like Chicago, it's like, okay, he's going to get cheered here and the crowd's going to be nuts for him. So what do we do here?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get it. I'm not from Chicago, so I don't really get it. So, yeah. And really, what might be hurting CM Punk the most is just he's injured. So I'm just seeing all of these like backstage segments on the mic, segments building and setting stuff up. But you saw him wrestle for about a cup of coffee here, in the Royal Rumble for a couple entrants that came in during the Royal Rumble. But
Yes. Now, trying to use him even though he's not ready to fully wrestle yet, but he's cleared for something at least. Is this similar to what they were trying to do in AEW with Kenny Omega recently, where he had to take time off and go for surgery, so they had him come out and just get beat up?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good call out by you, where it doesn't really build to a lot because he can't really wrestle. So why would you even have him get beat up? Yeah.
But as we saw later on in the show, maybe they really are building this to SummerSlam in Cleveland, which is also Great Lakes territory, not too far from Chicago, or even building it up to, I would think SummerSlam in Cleveland is where they're going with this, because later on, near the 9 o'clock hour, towards the end of hour 1, we get a backstage interview with Grayson Waller. DIY interrupts him. And then we hear banging on those big steel bay doors in the background of the arena. They open up, and it's Drew McIntyre standing over a bloody CM Punk.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre, who on Monday Night Raw 4 days ago said he was quitting the WWE. And now he, also a Raw guy, is on SmackDown. So this is great. We're getting 2 Raw guys on SmackDown just to pummel each other and set up an angle. I like it. I think this is some of the best work Drew McIntyre's done in his career.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And this is fantastic. He's standing over a fallen, bloodied CM Punk, picks him up onto his shoulder, and Fireman carries him through the arena out to the entranceway where he drops him. And CM Punk takes a bump. So this is what I mean by he's not wrestling yet, but he's clearly okay to do some physical stuff. Like, I would not want to be dropped from a fireman's carry onto the floor like Drew McIntyre just did to CM Punk. So he did take a real bump, and not even in the ring canvas, So CM Punk takes that. Drew kind of kneels down, steals a bracelet off of CM Punk's wrist, and that's when Nick Aldis comes out. Little shoving match between him and Drew. The other referees are out there, medics, and they're getting CM Punk to a hospital. This has some wheels. We haven't seen a lot of this because it's two Raw guys, and it's been a Raw angle for a long time. There was some of it, obviously, at Clash of the Castle, and I like that they giving us a little taste of this at SmackDown. Did you like to see this? Were you surprised by any of this? And do you like where this is going? And if you like where it's going, give me a little prognosticator there. Where do you think it's going? Just maybe throw out an event where you think they're heading to.
Yeah. I do want to mention one thing. So I watched with my wife tonight, and she saw CM Punk, and she said, "This guy." So it is an 0 for 3 from people that I talked to in real life about CM Punk. So yeah, she gave oh God, this guy. So it's like go away heat a little bit from the Don't Bury
Where
the
does
Lead.
she know him from? AEW in the recent controversy, or does she remember him from his WWE days a decade ago?
Oh, it's definitely the AEW stuff.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that might be why it's dragging out into that. But anyways, I think it was a pretty good segment because you have Chicago going crazy, and it's just always cool to see when a crowd goes crazy. And then in addition to that, when Drew carried his bloody carcass in from the back through that little gorilla area, I thought that looked really cool. And they spliced that other, just backstage confrontation in pretty well. Like, I like the style that they're going for.
The backstage production, you like that. You've mentioned the camera work and the production work before, so let's put a check mark there for the new WWE production.
Definitely. It's really cool. And it's refreshing and good, which is like a win-win, right? So I love, and the weird thing is though, like, I see him carry his bloody carcass in and drop him down. I was like, good. He's all bloody, and then like when he took the bump, it looked like he whacked his elbow. I'm like, I hope he got hurt, So for me, he's the heel, but he ignites an emotion, which is what heels are supposed to do. So
yes,
but like you said, if he's a heel, the Chicago crowd's walking over his heel run.
Yep.
But he should be he feels like he should be kind of positioned as a heel now.
He's doing heel things. He cost Drew McIntyre the title match at the main event of Clash in the Castle.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he's done 2 snaky things to Drew McIntyre just because he trashed him,
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah. Anyways, that's the CM Punk stuff. I'm looking forward to that match for sure. And yeah, let's maybe what match.
What's your favorite of the Money in the Bank qualifiers that we saw tonight? 2 from the men, 1 from the women. Pick your favorite, and we'll go there. We're finally getting to a real match.
Yeah, really. Maybe it might be Kevin Owens and Grayson Waller versus Andrade in the triple threat. I thought this was, and Andrade ends up shockingly winning this one between these 3. This might have been my favorite match, and I really liked Kevin Owens selling the knee injury that he got.
Yes.
Right before the beginning of the match.
Yep.
So he sold so well that I loved that. And I loved Grayson Waller attacking the knee that got injured. So there was like a little bit of a storyline there.
Yep.
And for a standout for me is Grayson Waller looked pretty good.
All right. Very good.
And I thought
he takes the pinfall in this one.
Yeah, but I have clowned on him for quite some time as far as the Grayson Waller effect, but I like when he wrestles.
Yes.
And I liked him in the match tonight. But yeah, so I think that was probably my favorite match of the night. Not really too many notes that I have on it outside of the fact that Kevin Owens did a great job selling and, just continuously selling throughout the match. Not just like, oh, my knees hurt. Oh, man. And then suddenly you're fine 10 minutes in afterwards. But
he's a pro. He knows how to do that. I mean, we would expect that kind of thing from Kevin Owens. He's at that level.
Sure.
He gets ring psychology and he gets how to do that. Yes. Solo Sikoa made it clear that Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, their job was to make sure that Randy Orton and Kevin Owens did not win their respective Money in the Bank qualifying triple threat matches tonight. And so, yes, the Tongas attacked Kevin Owens pre-match at the entranceway and injured his left knee there before Randy Orton ran them off with a chair.
Mhm.
Owens hobbled to the ring and competed, and yes, he was selling the knee. He was purposely moving more slowly, doing things like climbing the turnbuckles a little more slowly than he normally does. Hitting a stunner and being slow to get over for the cover because he just doesn't have his base under him as he normally would. So yeah, Kevin Owens doing all that cool stuff. The finish here is Owens does a stunner on Andrade, but Waller pulls Owens out of the ring to break the pinfall. Waller then rolls into the ring going for a rolling stunner of his own on Andrade, but Andrade blocks it and hits that spinning neck breaker for the pinfall. Some good stuff with all of these guys. Earlier in the match, this match goes 10 minutes, by the way. It was the longest match of the night. Waller backdropped Owens on the ring apron, and then Andrade came flying in with a sunset flip over the top rope and powerbombed Waller onto the floor. That's how they went to the first commercial. I also like Waller jumping into the ring and face planting both guys who were preoccupied with each other.
That was
went for the one other good one. He went for the pin on Owens. Owens kicked out, so then he pinned first on Andrade. Andrade kicks out, so Waller quickly goes to Owens. Pinfall on him. Owens kicks out, but good move by Waller. You like that move?
That for me was what kind of was like, oh, Waller looks pretty good because that move looked cool, and it was like a good triple threat move, and he executed it well. He does some pretty good stuff from the ring, from below the ring mat to onto the apron, right?
Yep.
So it's just kind of a little unique. It looks like, again, like I said before about Waller, I like about him sometimes. He looks like an indie guy sometimes with the goofball, interesting moves, but you have to do something different. You can't just do what everybody else does. So
yes, the Grayson Waller effect is that we want more matches and fewer palm trees.
no palm trees. Don't ever do the Grayson Waller effect again. And he's okay. Then he's okay in my book.
So do you like we both like the ring psychology here. Do you like the outcome that Andrade winds up going to Money in the Bank? You've probably seen him more than I have because he was in AEW recently. Is he kind of a Money in the Bank ladder match kind of guy to you?
It's interesting. Andrade was in the AEW, but he didn't get a lot of airtime. He didn't get a lot of TV time, and that's part of the reason why he left. He kind of was. I think he left on not such hot terms, and his wife is Charlotte Flair, or his SO is Charlotte Flair, so he's probably like, "Hey, you guys, can you get me out of here?" Because he's at the AEW catering table, so he's trying to. Now he's probably getting the push because he got fired from the WWE, so they're trying to make it right with all the people they laid off when Vince was there and going crazy. And then in addition to that, it's always a little salt in the wound for AEW if they have a guy, or at least these little things where they can push an AEW guy. Maybe it tempts them to kind of shift other people over. But enough about AEW. What do you think of what's our next match here?
Wherever you'd like to go next. There were two other Money in the Bank qualifiers, one for the men, one for the women. We did mention already Randy Orton not winning his match, so do you want to go to that one?
Yeah, sure. We got
Tama Tonga versus Carmelo Hayes versus Randy Orton. And when it looks like Randy Orton has the advantage here after doing the double hangman's DDT on both Tama Tonga and Carmelo Hayes, he then coils down. He's waiting for one of them to get up to hit him with the RKO for the pinfall. Tongaloa runs down, hops up on the ring apron, and distracts Randy Orton. And that leads to Kevin Owens attacking Tongaloa, which set up something for later as well. Then Randy ducks Tama Tonga's attack because this has taken a while, throws him outside, but then Randy turns right around into a roll-up by, of all the people to win this one, Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah.
in a 9-minute match here. Carmelo Hayes wins this match. This match starts at 8:56, ends at 9:05. So this goes over that coveted 9 o'clock switchover of the hours for people. Interesting to put this match there and have it, straddle the changeover of the hours there. What do you think of not only the finish, but who gets the pinfall here? It's Carmelo Hayes. Does he look like a Money in the Bank ladder match type of guy to you?
Yeah, he's been pretty good so far up in the main roster. I love the finish for two reasons. One, Carmelo Hayes didn't get a theme song entrance, making him look like a jobber. Because the other two guys came out with a team song, and he's just already in the ring. He got announced as. So I was like, whoa, Carmelo Hayes can't win. And he ends up winning it, and it's a roll-up, which I love. I just love when it's not just, finisher, pin, move on. It was like, no, it was a roll-up. So I love the finish, and I like the winner. And it's interesting. It looks like their big stars are not putting in the Money in the Bank, because you saw Randy Orton didn't get in, Kevin Owens didn't get in. So you're like, they're giving some of these other guys, right? Like Carmelo Hayes, who just came up, Andrade that just came into the roster from AEW, giving them an opportunity to do something at Money in the Bank.
Yes, and it also speaks to maybe they have other things planned for these big stars. It looks like they're setting up a 6-man tag. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens against Solo Sikoa, Tamatanga, Tongaloa, although now maybe Solo Sikoa backs out and they put Jacob Fatu into that match. But it looks like 3 of the 4 Bloodline guys against Cody, Randy, KO.
Yeah.
So there's something else for those guys to do. They don't need to be in Money in the Bank.
Right.
I think Carmelo Hayes, maybe he's that kind of ladder match guy. He's got that build. He's already used to doing the high flying stuff. He's his wrestling style isn't grounded to the mat. So maybe he'll be good in a ladder match. I'm interested in seeing what he can do. He clearly has the athletic ability, so maybe he'll be really good in that match.
Yeah, the ladder matches are completely different than regular wrestling matches, right? So way different. And you got to think of the best people ever to do ladder matches. Well, you could just say Scott Hall, because he did a nice simple ladder match back in the day, the first ladder match ever.
Yeah, with Shawn Michaels, right? Weren't those the ones that put the ladder match on the map?
Yeah, and they were just pushing each other off the ladder. It wasn't that big of a deal. They weren't doing anything too crazy.
Yeah,
but
there was also just a one-on-one ladder match. It's not going to be 6 guys in there.
Yeah,
for Money in the Bank.
Complete car wreck,
Yes.
But yeah, so do you want to go to the last match of the night here?
We could go to the last match and then hit one of the other non-wrestling segments. Bianca Belair versus Michin versus Chelsea Green. My favorite match of the night.
It was almost my favorite too. Go ahead.
Because I really enjoy Chelsea Green's work. There's something about those wrestlers from Canada, Chelsea Green, Sami Zayn. They can do the comedy wrestling. I'm not saying that Chelsea Green, if she ever got into more of a non-comedy role like Sami has, that Chelsea will be as great as Sami has been. But she's fantastic in the comedy role. And Chelsea Green winds up winning this. Which is tremendous. Bianca Belair hits the kiss of death on Michin. Chelsea throws Bianca out of the ring and just steals the pinfall. Match goes 8 minutes. I loved it. Chelsea looks surprised after winning it. Which
it was another
great.
Shocker. That and I wrote in my notes, Chelsea Green push ? She's getting some wins here. I thought she was just going to be a comedy jobber. But they won a tag match that was pretty big, where they knocked off Bayley and Naomi, and Piper Neville. And now she is going to Money in the Bank, and she wins this triple threat match. Really cool.
Yeah, I like Chelsea Green's work. I also like Michin and Bianca Belair. So no one in this match was a downer for me. They all work well. They all wrestled well. I enjoyed it.
Mishan is well on her way to our Ricochet Memorial Award, where
Yes.
she is the best jobber on the roster without any question.
Yes.
I think Mishan's very close to that. And then, in addition to that, I did want to mention one thing.
Sure.
Bianca Belair is really doing it all right now, because not only does she not get the win because someone screws her over, but she has to do the pre-match promo with Jade to have Jade still in the picture, and then
Yes.
go out directly right from the pre-promo match, and then she has to kind of like carry Jade in all these tag matches. So she's doing God's work right now.
They are cashing in the push they gave her with that record-setting Raw Women's Championship run.
She's doing everything. She's doing.
It's like, all right, we now that we know you can do all this great stuff, boy, do we have a list for you, Bianca.
Right.
It's like Chris Jericho, you're on the list.
Yeah, totally. So she's got to carry Jade. She's got to go out and lose. She's got to, but still look strong. She can't look like a chump. She has to look like a really top competitor and performer. And
she hit the finisher tonight. She just didn't get the pin.
Yeah. I think she's doing all three of those things, right? She's doing everything she needs to do.
Yep.
It's like a cook in the kitchen, boiling the water, doing this over here, got this on the flame, back and forth, doing all this different stuff for the WWE right now. She got the Hulu show.
That too. That's right. Her and Montez Ford.
So she's doing everything right now.
Yes, I enjoy this. You mentioned some of Michin's work. She goes for a Hurricane Run on Bianca Belair. Bianca counters it into a power bomb. Basically, doesn't go over with the flip when Michin goes for it. Tries to counter it into a power bomb, but Michin punches and then backslides her way out of that into a roll up that Bianca kicks out of. So really good stuff there. Yes, from Michin. Chelsea Green wound up with a dive onto both of the competitors on the floor and then looked stunned that she hit it. That's how they went to the first commercial.
Yeah.
I'll allow the dive, which I don't usually like. If it's Chelsea Green hitting it and then being surprised that she hit it, okay, I'll take that. So I liked everybody in this match, and Chelsea Green is going to be a ton of fun in a ladder match.
Oh yeah, for sure. Do you want to talk about the LA Knight segment? Maybe I could kick it to you.
Sure, let's go LA Knight and Logan Paul. LA Knight comes out to the ring, and this was right after Carmelo Hayes won the triple threat match. So everybody was cheering, hoping for Randy Orton there. And that followed CM Punk in a bloody mess being dumped in the entranceway there. So the crowd was kind of looking for a pick-me-up, and here was LA Knight. And he did it, and the crowd was back into it. He called out Logan Paul, who didn't come out. But as he's running down Logan Paul, who should show up, it's Santos Escobar, who's going to be in the same triple threat qualifier for Money in the Bank with LA Knight next week. So we have that to look forward to. Santos Escobar tries to get into a verbal sparring, and when that doesn't work, he goes for the physicality. LA Knight escapes a fireman's carry move, hits a BFT, and while he's jawing at Santos Escobar, who's rolled to the floor, who sneaks into the ring? That coward Logan Paul, who throws LA Knight into the ring post and then hits him with the one lucky punch. And LA Knight does I'm calling these a Sami Zayn-esque bump.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't kick his feet out and backdrop. Like he took the punch to the face and just like knee buckled. Like he went with the punch momentum wise and just knee buckled and dropped. So I like when people do a different kind of bump.
Right.
So I enjoy that, and they're setting it up now that Logan Paul, he's the conniving heel, even though he is the champion. He's trying to be a little bit cowardly here. I'm enjoying the LA Knight Logan Paul program. Right. I imagine that something is going to happen during this triple threat match where Santos Escobar wins, so that neither Logan Paul or LA Knight has to be in has to win, has to be in Money in the Bank, and maybe they're going to do something leading up to SummerSlam there. But not a bad segment. I get to see LA Knight. I get to see a BFT. And then I get to see LA Knight not only work the crowd, but, as the segment ends, he sells.
Yeah.
The heel got the upper hand.
LA Knight, as always, fantastic on the mic, and only amplified by what I would call a very incredible Chicago crowd tonight. They were into every segment, and it felt almost like a pay-per-view. So, any other things you want to talk about from tonight's Smackdown, Dom?
The weird alliance between Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah.
They solidify this backstage against, wouldn't you know it, poor Meechin. Tiffany Stratton comes over there to talk trash to Meechin about how Meechin did not win her Money in the Bank qualifier. Tiffany Stratton goes to punch Meechin. Meechin blocks it, clocks Tiffany Stratton, and then Nia Jax ambushes, just clobbers Meechin from kind of the side and back there. So this weird Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton allegiance. Okay, they're both heels. I'll take it.
Yeah. So I like it a lot because Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax are our girls that we're like, yeah, we've done videos on. I'm like,
we have.
Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax has shut up the haters, and Tiffany Stratton is a megastar in the making.
Yep. So I like that. So I like the segments. I don't have anything else to mention from tonight's show. I think we hit all the matches, we hit all the segments, we hit some of what we think are developing storylines and perhaps future premium live event feuds to happen.
And we have 25 people in the chat, so don't be shy.
My goodness, tell us in the chat, what did you think was match of the night tonight?
Yeah, what was the best match you saw, best segment? Are you looking just for the recap? Are we thinking WWE's headed in the right direction? Are we thinking, this is not so good heading into the summer here? Let us know what you think. And, Dom,
wherever you're watching us on the live stream, because we are on a few different platforms for live stream, if you want our recorded content, our archives, not only of these live stream shows available for replay whenever you want, but also the under 60-second shorts that John, that you make, and also the edited video clips that, John, you make off of these longer live streams. That mother load of content is available at the YouTube channel. Look for Don't Bury the Lead on YouTube. Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel. We're on our way to our next benchmark in subscribers. We're over 500. We're over 600 and climbing, trying to get the total video views and the watch hours up there. We're getting close to a couple of YouTube benchmarks. Help us climb that mountain. Be part of it. We appreciate everybody who's watching and subscribing. And John, like you said, if you have any comments for us, as much as John and I like talking, we also like getting some feedback from y'all. And
yes,
we will include some of your better remarks in our live stream today if you throw them in while we're streaming.
Yeah. And that's WWE SmackDown. And is it drive time?
It is drive time. It's the road to SummerSlam, but for us, it's always the road to the thumb drive. Because after we analyze and go through the recap of what happened on these shows, we also like to distill what we watched into a simple thumbs up or thumbs down. There are no thumbs in the middle ties. There are also no star ratings, no letter grades, no number grades. You are taking this course. Pass, fail.
Dom, we're not Dave Meltzer. We're not 7 stars at the Tokyo Dome. We're not 2 stars at NXT. We're not 5 stars at Stardom in Japan. No. We just say, was the show good or was the show bad? So are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh,
It
two
was
thumbs
close, but I'll give
up.
it a thumb up.
Wow. I actually had it way up, but
You had
yeah,
it way up. Okay, you tell me why it was way up.
the crowd was awesome.
Okay.
They were feeding everything they were eating up. They were into it. Sometimes in SmackDown in the past, it felt like sometimes they're piping the crowd in. You could really hear the crowd was genuinely really into all the stuff. We had some good matches, and I really like the LA Knight Logan Paul segment because LA Knight's awesome. And CM Punk, he's a pain in the ass. He's not that great, but he I think he held his own because he's in Chicago.
Mhm.
What did you think of this SmackDown, Dom? Why'd you give it a thumbs up?
I'm not usually a fan of a SmackDown that's as light on in-ring matches as this one was. But all of the non-match and non-match finish segments that we saw, there were enough surprises in there, and it looked like they were at least moving feuds forward and building to something. It didn't look like they were just running in place trying to get to the next PLE.
Yeah.
It looks like there's movement and there's progress. So, if I see that, I'm generally interested and entertained enough. So this is the kind of, we've done SmackDowns before that seemed too many angles that weren't going anywhere. Like too many angle segments that weren't going anywhere, and the wrestling didn't carry it. Because the wrestling did not carry this show, did it for you?
I thought the wrestling was fine enough, and the segments were good enough. It's really the crowd. The
Okay.
crowd was just on fire.
So you're saying the crowd, this was a genuine crowd? They weren't just piping in holy shit chants?
Yeah, they weren't, and they were.
They didn't have pre-recorded ECW chants?
They weren't just piping in stuff, and they weren't just sometimes these a lot of these matches or a lot of the production, like they have theme songs, and it's just like the theme song, commercial break, the next guy's theme song, and they're doing the
Yep.
entrances, and you're like, oh my god. If you watch every Friday night, it gets so annoying. You're like, I've heard the Cody Rhodes theme song a lot. I don't need to
Is
hear
the
it.
change in production decisions and visuals, is that helping some of these non-match segments from getting too stale or
Yeah.
too channel change, bathroom break, snack break?
Look at the CM Punk thing tonight when they
Yeah.
got smacked in the back there,
Yep.
up against the steel door. Then he gets
Yep.
carried in through the back, through what they have is branded as their gorilla section, and then dumped off. It just looks a lot different. I think it's a step in the right direction.
It's a good visual, isn't it?
Yeah. Speaking of visuals,
Hey there. Do we have a chat to put on screen here?
no.
No, okay.
Speaking of visuals,
I'm sorry, I missed the segue.
I was alluding to visuals that we'll see on the screen during this segment.
Absolutely. It's hot here in southern New Jersey, summertime in the northern hemisphere, but it's also hot in this segment every week that we like to call cheap heat. Oh, it's warm in here, and it is definitely inexpensive. So let's go. It's cheap. It's heat. It's cheap heat. And who are those there? We like to say that cheap heat is our chance to look at not only more than the one show that we watch every week, which is SmackDown, but also looking at more than simply the WWE, because, hey, the professional wrestling world, especially in the U.S., is bigger than just one show and even bigger than one major promotion. And on the screen right now, courtesy of, this comes to us from WrestleZone, these are the Hardy Boys. So this is almost every major North American promotion here. The Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff Hardy, who made their name in the WWE, went to TNA Impact for a while and made big names for themselves there. Then made a big name for themselves in AEW, maybe even a little ROH. And now they both show up at TNA's Against All Odds, although apparently they don't have a long-term contract with them. They're sort of being just paid for these events. But big surprise to see the two of them there. What say you about the Hardys still working, still drawing pretty good crowd reactions, at least for a TNA sized crowd? And as we go a little more into it, tell everybody what's your favorite iteration of the Hardys, either Matt or Jeff or a tag team?
Oh yeah.
You've seen
Well,
these guys maybe more than I have. Although, well, maybe I shouldn't say that. I saw them in TNA. You may have seen them more in WWE and AEW.
if I'm gonna pick my favorite Hardy, it's definitely the ridiculous Matt Hardy when he was doing delete stuff. That
Yes.
was way out there, and that stuff usually is terrible, but it was great. It's
Yep.
either terrible or great. That stuff,
He
right?
pulled it off, right?
Yeah. So I think that's my favorite Hardy stuff is Matt Hardy doing, what is that called? Not the deletion.
He
Matt
was doing Brother Nero for a while
Brother
too.
Nero. Yes.
Well, I think he would call Jeff that. Was it that he
Yeah.
called Jeff Brother Nero?
Yes, he called Jeff Hardy Brother Nero.
Yes.
I must have watched that, and that was when TNA was like, oh, this company's dead, huh? And then like they started to do that and got like a little bit more traction, right?
I believe that was under the creative direction of Billy Corgan, who would go on to buy NWA.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
the Matt Hardy turn, and even the idea of a cinematic match that even other promotions started to do. I don't know if AEW did much of a cinematic match, but especially in 2020 when there weren't live crowds in arenas, The Undertaker and AJ Styles put on a cinematic match. Wasn't that the WWE WrestleMania match? And maybe they were able to squeeze another year out of The Undertaker because they were able to do a cinematic match. I think that stuff really started with Matt Hardy and this broken Matt Hardy character.
Yeah. No, cool to see them around. I think Broken Matt Hardy's probably my favorite. How about you? What's your favorite?
Broken Matt Hardy. I didn't really get to see them do a lot of stuff as a tag team in their heyday in the WWE. They apparently were part of weren't they part of that great triple threat tables, ladders, and chairs
Yeah,
match that put the TLC format on the map? It was them, Edge and Christian, and was it the Dudleys?
the Dudley Boys. Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Tell us in the chat, tell us in the comments, what do you remember about the long and well-traveled careers of Matt and Jeff Hardy? What's your favorite iteration of them? Let's head over to, hey, we mentioned Ricochet. This comes to us from Cinema Blend. Ricochet is on his way out. So this is why we need another Ricochet. We need another Ricochet, someone to carry on the name of the guy who looks great, even though he's putting over other wrestlers almost constantly. And
Yeah.
maybe Meechin is going to be that on the women's side. Ricochet is on his way out. It looks like he's maybe disappointed in his usage. Is he just getting lost in the shuffle? And do you think he still has enough left in the tank where he can go to another promotion?
I think it's a good idea because I think there's a lot of people right now in the WWE
Yep.
That are ahead of him, right,
Yep.
in the pecking order. And maybe they've given him a lot of opportunities. And for him, it's really probably just the tag team with Braun Strowman, and Braun's out injured. He didn't have anything with WrestleMania weekend. I saw he was at the Philadelphia Wings game, which is a lacrosse game,
Okay.
on WrestleMania weekend. So he's doing that stuff. He's not even
Oh.
on any. He wasn't in any of the shows. So I think he probably. I don't blame him. Especially as a guy who's probably made a good amount of money in his career. Maybe he's got enough stored away where he's like, all right, maybe I can go try to take a risk here.
Would you like to see him in AEW since you also watch AEW?
Yeah. I know that's another bloated roster,
Okay.
They have a ton of guys in AEW right now, and I don't know if that makes sense. I do think the timing's interesting. Because AEW seems like it's a bit on its way down versus WWE's on its way up. So to
Oh.
say that you want to be leaving, why would you jump ship now from WWE when it seems like things are a little bit better there than they've been in the past. So
Yes. Mentioned in this article as well that WWE seems to be on the uptick. The superstars under Triple H and TKO seem way happier than they were under Vince McMahon. But of course, if everybody's way happier and more people are showing up on the roster, then maybe there has to be a correction in the other direction.
yeah,
Some guys who want more airtime and think they have more than what they've been allowed to show in WWE go for other places. Do you think he fits the AEW style? They mentioned here that he did have a run, at least one good match, defeating Samoa Joe for the U.S. Championship when each was in WWE. Do you think he could make some waves in AEW? Would you like to see him there? Does his style fit?
his style fits for sure, and his style
Okay.
would fit anywhere because he's a hell of a worker.
Okay.
I've always liked him, and how it feels like he's been with that company forever. Though at some point, it makes more sense to make a move, get some intrigue in some other place, maybe New Japan, maybe you go to AEW. But I'm always a big fan of people pushing themselves a little bit more and trying to maybe even, the indies, something like that, just something where he's not just at catering, he's not just at Philadelphia Wings lacrosse games with 500 people, and he's like the guy from WWE waving,
Yep.
take a shot.
Several of the performers over there, meaning AEW, most notably Will Ospreay, have said publicly that they think WWE should be utilizing Ricochet more. No lie, this is from X, Twitter. No lie, I for real think it's time for WWE to let Ricochet show what he's got on the mic. And of course, this was earlier this month, and it's not happening. Instead, he's just leaving WWE. So, yeah, perhaps there are greener pastures. The great thing about competition in major pro wrestling promotions is that it's not a one size fit all. It's not like, oh, everybody's going to do their best work in WWE or everybody's going to do their best work in AEW. You go where the opportunities are, and that's a shifting landscape. I hope that Ricochet finds a landing spot and can do something.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of landing spots and doing something, we saw this guy tonight from Deadline. This is CM Punk. He signed with Paradigm, which is a talent agency out in movie land, Hollywood. This was the same ones that had signed Tiffany Stratton earlier. So CM Punk, who has a reputation as being kind of an ornery guy and maybe a little too real and raw in what his characters are. This is good news for him, that people think he can broaden his entertainment chops beyond pro wrestling. Good for him. Just wanted to mention that there. He looks like he's doing a lot of that tonight. And as much as I can't stand him, does he look like he has the chops to maybe do more than just pro wrestling?
He did a movie before, Girl on the Third Floor.
Yep.
So
and FX's Mayans MC stars heels and indies like The Girl on the Third Floor and Jacob's Wife. Yeah, good call out. There they are in the Deadline story.
Yeah, and Girl on the Third Floor was pretty well received.
Okay.
And so, at the end of the day, it's pretty cool. I feel like, I should say, it's pretty interesting that he would that all the Paradigm is signing up all these pro wrestlers. I wonder what that's all about. I don't even know what that really is.
I think it may be them realizing that maybe some of these crossover appearances are going to be a big deal. Like a wrestling star makes a cameo in some other series.
Yeah, maybe they're
especially once
associated with
WWE's
Netflix.
on Netflix.
Yeah, maybe it's something to do with Netflix. Who knows?
Something like that. CM Punk, of course, is popular in the wrestling world. After his return to the WWE, Punk moved more than $1 million in merchandise over the course of just 24 hours. And he continues to be near the top of the merchandise seller in WWE since his return on the men's side. This is good stuff for him and good stuff for more wrestlers getting recognized for their performing abilities. Speaking of guys who found opportunities outside of the WWE, it's the former top dollar AJ Francis. This comes to us from WrestleZone. AJ Francis won the TNA Digital Media Championship. I'm not sure what the Digital Media Championship is, but he won it. Good for him. It means he's getting a push. He seems to have looked decent in his time there in TNA. What say you about the former top dollar getting some success in TNA?
Honestly, good for him, because I think he was getting made fun of a little bit too much there toward the end. Like, he had one botch. He wasn't a great wrestler. He wasn't an evil person. We didn't need to have all that kind of internet trolling on him.
Yes.
But so it's cool to see that he kind of, kept his chin up, kept at it, went to GCW, and now at TNA. The Digital Media Champion. I wonder if that's a play on like the TV champ, but instead of TV champ, Digital Media.
Yeah, updating it for modern media. I like that. Okay, the Digital Media Champion. I like that. So when we did a grading special for Don't Bury the Lead end of 2022, which you can still find at the YouTube channel Don't Bury the Lead, we correctly gave Top Dollar a D, one of the few D grades that we handed out, A, B, C, D, F. We gave him a D. But like you said, it doesn't mean we hate him. In fact, we found out that he had a serious medical condition that he did not know about towards the tail end of his wrestling stint there in the WWE. The fact that he seems healthier and is doing well in TNA, good for him. I like it. I accidentally hit the play button on this TNA thing here. I don't want to get us flagged, so I'm just going to kill that because they've done that to us before.
Yeah.
And we're just going to move on. NWO, we've done a couple of Scott Hall call outs here. There's a book coming out on the NWO by Mark Raimondi. 3 years ago, apparently, he was approached about starting this kind of thing. An NWA book. Pro wrestling is getting into the book arena, isn't it? Mick Foley famously did a book. More recently, Becky Lynch, Rebecca Quinn, did a book that was released near WrestleMania, went on a mini book tour. What say you about pro wrestling books, especially if it's in the vein of sort of a history going back a few decades and trying to tell the history and the behind the scenes tales of what's going on, which seems to be what's happening here?
Dom, you should never get your wrestling news from books. You should watch YouTube clips. Don't bury the lead.
Absolutely.
That should be your only source of information. Don't bury the lead.
Without question. Say hello to the bad guys, though. Good for longtime NWO fans. Maybe we'll have to do more NWO callbacks here on Don't Bury the Lead. It's kind of easy for us. We both enjoyed the Monday Night Wars 20-something years ago. So maybe we'll start dropping some more Scott Hall mentions there. But yes, hello to the bad guys.
There are some really good wrestling books. I know Mick Foley had a pretty popular book.
Yep.
But there's also been some clunkers. I think it was Ric Flair had one that was really weird, where he just trashed all these people in his book. And, and everyone was like, dude, what are you doing? So it's, he must have just had a ghostwriter and had a couple drinks and just started trashing people. Who knows? I don't know. It was just
started shooting on everybody.
He just buried everyone. It's buried
the Ric Flair Jim Cornette shoot interview in words on paper.
Yes, exactly.
Very good. How professional wrestling's new world order changed America. We know they changed the wrestling world. Did they change America, John?
Yes. You know?
Yes. The NWO changed America. You heard it here first on Don't Bury the Lead. We love it. All best to Mark Raimondi with this.
Yeah, in improv, Dom, it's always yes. It's always yes. So for the sake of improv, I'll say yes. Of course they did.
Ed McMahon on the old Tonight Show telling Johnny Carson, when Johnny would ask him a question as a setup for a joke, and, just totally breaking kayfabe, Ed McMahon would say, if it helps the joke, yes. Just,
right.
just the perfect, wet blanket response there. But it became endearing after a while. So, yes. Speaking of pop culture, Drew McIntyre and Billy Corgan meeting each other. Billy Corgan smashing pumpkins. Drew McIntyre smiling politely. Do you know the callback here?
Oh, no. What is this?
A Simpsons episode. I believe it was called the Homer Palooza episode, where Homer winds up at Lollapalooza for some reason and gets to meet Billy Corgan, and then it's Billy Corgan smashing pumpkins. Homer Simpson smiling politely.
Right.
Simpson fans here, I love it. Billy Corgan, of course. This is not just a meeting of wrestling and rock, an old rock and wrestling connection here. It's not only a callback to classic Americana and pop culture, The Simpsons. It's also the meeting of two wrestling promotions. Billy Corgan owns the NWA still, among other things that he's doing. So Billy Corgan smashing pumpkins, Drew McIntyre smiling politely. Love it. Love that Drew McIntyre is a Simpsons fan and is willing to do this. How can he be a heel if he does this? Drew McIntyre has to be a babyface. CM Punk is the heel. I don't care what the crowd in Chicago says.
Yeah, right? I mean, come on. Who are we kidding here? Tell us in the chat. What do you think? CM Punk the heel, Drew McIntyre's the face, or are we wrong?
Billy Corgan smashing pumpkins. Anyone else smiling politely? I am. I'm smiling politely. A little more than smiling politely here. Mercedes Moné, huge Boston Celtics fan. The Boston Celtics win their 18th NBA title this week. Mercedes Moné was there in the crowd with the belt.
Yeah.
And her Moné brass knuckles across 3 of the knuckles. She's having a grand old time as the confetti falls down there at the clinching game in the Boston Garden. She seems to be a genuine basketball fan. This was not, and maybe Ricochet is a genuine lacrosse fan, but this was not like, oh, Ricochet, we don't have anything for you to do during WrestleMania weekend. You want to go to a lacrosse game and wave?
Oh, no. She's getting herself over. She's at the NBA Finals.
Yeah, and it's not like AEW sent her there. Tony Khan didn't say, we've got nothing for you. You want to go to a basketball game, and if they win, just like live stream something on your phone?
Yeah.
She seems like a genuine fan.
I'm sure she got the ticket. They pitched in for the ticket thinking, that's some publicity with her there with the belt there.
She's bringing the belt.
She's wearing the belt.
Yep, this is just Mercedes Moné and Liv Morgan bringing the belt with them to other things.
Things where you don't need the belt, per se.
We love it. Like, there's no reason to have the Pro Wrestling Championship belt.
Yeah.
At a basketball game. But there she is. What a fantastic... apparently, this came from... I'm guessing she got featured on the big screen there because she is certainly very photogenic. The green and gold hair... she is, of course, fit and attractive. She's wearing a belt and lots of jewelry. She's got a title belt with her. She is definitely camera candy.
Yes.
And so they put her on camera.
She doesn't look like the other Celtics fan. The guy
she does
on his,
not look like anyone else in this shot.
the guy on his 9th beer with the pot belly.
No.
Cursing out the refs,
None of this,
Especially Boston fans who are notoriously, rough looking.
They're the Chicago fans of basketball.
Yes.
Kanye West. Speaking of entertainers, Kanye West performs at TJPW Alexander Wang Wangamania wrestling event in Tokyo. This past weekend, West and Ty Dolla $ign performed their song Talking at Wang Mania. The event held by Alexander Wang featured fashion and musical performances. The event also saw Tokyo Joshi Pros Mizuki and Nao Kakuta taking on Miyu Yamashita and Yuki Kamifuku. This reads like satire. I am not going to lie. John, is this real?
I've read other articles that confirm this on yahoo.com and something else where
Okay.
No, it was not satire. He showed up to this rinky-dink promotion.
Wang Mania.
Wang Mania.
Wang Mania. Fashion, music. They threw in a tag team wrestling match.
And
Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign.
And maybe one of the most famous rappers, definitely today.
Ever, yes.
For all sorts of reasons, because he's constantly in the news and constantly in the media. I do have to give him credit. What a curveball. This would be like if he played at NJCW.
Right,
it's
and
just like in that vein.
I believe so. I'm with you. This comes to us from SE Scoops. Yeah. Hey, wrestling, trying to bring in other entertainment. That's as old as the first WrestleMania, wasn't it? With all the stars there. Was it Bob Uecker, Liberace, early on in the WrestleMania days?
If you got a ticket to Wang Mania and suddenly Kanye West is performing, you're probably like, what is going on? Because he surprise performed and showed up. So
yeah.
Suddenly
you're there and Kanye West comes out and that like raises the status of the event, doesn't it?
Yes. We do have our first chat here. I want to just pop it up.
Wang Mania.
It's not about Wang Mania, but
did Bray Wyatt die from a heart attack? Is that right or not? I'm not sure what he passed away from. He was out of action for a while. He was hospitalized with a major illness and he passed away. I do not know what they listed as the cause of death. But
it was a heart disorder. And I don't think it was specifically a heart attack. I know he had a heart disorder, so it might be in that same vein. But
no pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. I might be in that same vein, but it wasn't like drugs or anything like that. It was just unfortunate natural cause. But hey, Parker, thanks so much for the chat. We really appreciate it. You said
and
hi
Parker
here.
Colley and those of else of you in the chat, bringing up Bray Wyatt there. It's mainly a Raw thing, not a SmackDown thing, but they're bringing back the Uncle Howdy, the 6 Squadron or whatever they're calling, SICKS. So as in they're all sick. That was a big reveal this past Monday on Raw. They alluded to it a bit tonight on SmackDown. Are you yes or no on them trying to revive the old Bray Wyatt gimmick just without Bray Wyatt? Because they seem to be doing that over on Raw with, it looks like it's going to be Bo Dallas as Uncle Howdy. Well, that's a good question. Luke Harper was one of the members of that stable. I don't know what he died from.
He was more...
Eric Rowan is back.
Yeah.
Do you know, John, what did Luke Harper die from?
He died from a lung disorder, something similar to Bray, really, where it was a natural causes and died at a very young age, unfortunately. Both were...
something that may. I imagine that the life they lead as pro wrestlers, being extra big guys, in just a normal human size. I mean, these guys carry a lot of weight, and maybe it puts some extra stress on the internal organs there. And you never know if they had previous conditions from a long time, hereditary conditions, or a lot of the medications either on or off label that they take because their chosen profession is kind of hard on the body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was something with the lungs, and I know it wasn't COVID because it was right during COVID, so everyone thought COVID. It's like, no, it's un-COVID related. It's not COVID related. It was something,
Okay.
some lung issue. But yeah, moving on. Go ahead, Dom.
Also from SE Scoops, Sami Zayn revealing how he dodged the Wyatt 6 attack on Monday Night Raw. He apparently left the arena and was not part of getting knocked off here. Yeah, so I actually didn't even know what happened. I left the arena maybe 5 or 10 minutes before all that happened. I get to my hotel and I tweet out the pre-sale code for my comedy show, and all the replies from fans are like, "Your coworkers have been killed. What are you doing tweeting out a comedy show?" Okay, kayfabe aside, wait. Sami Zayn is debuting a comedy show? Sami Zayn and Friends do Toronto for Money in the Bank weekend? How intrigued are you by this?
Yeah, I don't know. What? Like a stand-up comedy set he's gonna do?
I don't know. Sami Zayn and Friends do Toronto.
I guess it's good use for him if he's not going to be wrestling. He's not wrestling. That's what's going to be happening.
I mean, Sami Zayn has basically been doing sketch comedy for years in the WWE.
Oh, sketch comedy might work.
He lost to the Jackass guy.
That's true. He has been doing comedy gimmicks for a while now, especially with. So yeah, he has a good idea what he's doing up there. He'll be good.
He's got the chops. This is intriguing. I obviously will not be in Toronto at the Danforth Music Hall on Thursday, July 4th for this event. But if there are YouTube clips or Rumble clips, BitChute, wherever, Twitter X clips floating around, not going to lie, I will click on anything that involves Sami Zayn and his friends doing a comedy show in a music hall. Sure.
Oh yeah, that would be some really cheap cell phone heat. That's interesting. Did he lose his Intercontinental title to this over the weekend?
He did not. He is still the Intercontinental Champion.
So he's just not wrestling? He just go to the Intercontinental Champions taking a night off?
He did something on Raw and then left. He wrestled at the thing on the 25th.
Clash at the Castle?
Yes, he wrestled at Clash at the Castle.
Okay.
Retained in the triple threat. And then had a segment on Raw, but he may not have something to do for Money in the Bank. So since it's in Toronto, they're going to give him something to do. It's Sami Zayn in Toronto. It's like CM Punk in Chicago on steroids, you know?
Yeah, so he's probably doing kind of like what I said with Bianca Belair. He's going to do the comedy show. Then after the comedy show, he'll wrestle and do something on Friday night maybe, or even on the pay-per-view.
Maybe he'll be involved in the pay-per-view. Maybe not a title match. We'll have to see what that's up. But yes, he did retain with a haluva kick to pin Chad Gable at Clash of the Castle in that triple threat match. That also, actually, no, it was just Sammy versus Chad Gable. It involved the rest of the Alpha Academy. But yeah, it was a one-on-one match, and it was a fantastic match from Clash at the Castle. So we know Sammy can go in the ring. We just have to figure out what his improv comedy chops are like.
Yeah.
And if those of you are in Toronto, you will be seeing it. And one more for us. This is on Instagram. This is Hulk Hogan and someone, Frankie LaPena, fighting over getting into a tug of war with a replica WWE title belt in a bar in Florida. And then this guy takes a table bump. This is what we expect. He pats him on the butt, slaps him, and he just goes through a table. And apparently it's at a Hooters in Florida. This does not even need the Florida man mentioned in the headline. But if the belt fits, wear it. Florida man wrestles belt away from Hulk Hogan, gets slapped on butt, and falls through table at Hooters. There's your headline.
What's Hulk doing? What's he doing this for?
Does he need the money?
Hogan, come on, brother. What are we doing here?
Is this the Ringo Starr "I'm out of money" tour?
Or is this a I know he cleaned up and he said he wasn't drinking anymore. Is this him back on the wagon? This was his idea.
This Frankie LaPenna fellow is apparently a Instagram or social media, including Instagram, star.
Is he like one of these big guys that we don't know?
He's got 27,000 likes on this Instagram thing, and it's only about 3 days old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing he's fairly popular in the medium. He is wearing a shirt that is form-fitting, although I'm not sure it's supposed to be form-fitting. The shorts are also form-fitting. Again, not sure if they're supposed to be form-fitting. It appears that he is apparently wearing a couple of sizes too small, and they are hugging his curves. So maybe he's just getting into the Hooters state of mind there. Frankie LaPenna, welcome to Don't Bury the Lead. Good for you for taking the butt slap and the table bump.
Yeah, we'll have to see what your following is, because if you have a lot of people that you follow you on, it's Frankie LaPenna.
Frankie LaPenna, we may have to ride some coattails here.
Yo, yeah.
Frankie LaPenna and the Hulkster. I'm going to play it one more time from Instagram. That belt belongs to me. No, it's not my belt. I'm the champ. Give me this. Wah, 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 wah. Fine, you can have the belt.
Okay, Frankie LaPenna is a massive star. I had no idea who he was. He's got 8.8 million subscribers on YouTube. That is huge. Jesus. I'm glad you showed me this, Tom. I'm going to make a video about this.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
What a closer for Cheap Heat. It's inexpensive. It's above average temperatures. It's Cheap Heat.
All right, Dom, thanks so much for sharing there. Always a lot of fun to go through Cheap Heat. And you know what? We're going to make a video out of that, because the Cheap Heat, it needs to be a video anymore. We're doing
the Cheap Heat segment. People seem to like it. Those who stumble upon it seem to watch for a while. So, we're still in the experimental stage, aren't we, John? I'm no expert in this. You are more expert than I am, but we are both still experimenting with this. So if people watch Cheap Heat, then maybe we just, continue to break that segment out and make that it's a standalone from the full live stream.
Yeah, and we still have quite a few people. We have 30 people on Twitter. We have
absolutely awesome.
We have 2 people on YouTube. We have 1 on Twitch. So
excellent.
Fire
Did
away.
we miss anything in Cheap Heat that you wanted us to cover from this past week in the world of professional wrestling?
Yeah.
We're into the Italian goodbye, which means we're saying goodbye, but not so fast. You know what we mean here?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
So there is plenty of time to get your comments into the chat there. If you are watching on the replay over at YouTube, then of course leave us a comment. What else would you like us to talk about that we did not get to in Cheap Heat? Was there anything we missed from Smackdown that you wanted us to talk about? We are, of course, all ears for that. And as things go here, all of the wonderful people finding us on X as we live stream tonight and on Twitch, head on over to the YouTube channel. That's where all of the recorded content is. Yes, we live stream to several platforms, but the recorded content, the sub 1 minute shorts, and the edited, well-produced video clips that John puts out are at the YouTube channel. Subscribe at YouTube and hey, take a stroll through our archives. Find something that interests you. Find something that piques your fancy there to maybe mix old sayings. And give it a click, give it a play. Stay for a few minutes. Tell us you like it. Give it a like. Give it a comment if you're so inclined. And of course, help us to our next big benchmark in subscribers. We love it. Let's say I saw a few chats there. We did get some questions earlier about, it's bound to happen with the return of the Wyatt family as a WWE angle and a on-screen faction going forward. There, of course, are going to be some questions about, hey, whatever happened to Bray? Whatever happened to Luke Harper? Sadly, they did pass away. Bray very recently. I do wonder if the popularity of the recent Bray Wyatt documentary convinced WWE to take a shot with sort of the whole Wyatt family angle that they looked like they were trying to build with Bray Wyatt at the helm of it before he got too sick to work and then, too sick to even not be in the hospital. So maybe the popularity of just the Wyatt storyline and Bray Wyatt in recent months led the WWE to give the Wyatt family another chance, which in a sense is giving another chance to perhaps Bo Dallas, perhaps Eric Rowan, who's back in the fold. It looks like Nikki Cross is so far the token crazy female in the group. So Nikki Cross now has something to do. So it's an opportunity. Like Christian Cage used to say when he first went to TNA because he wasn't getting sort of disappointed with his push in WWE. He said, I was told I didn't have it, and I always wondered what it was. It turns out it is an opportunity. So maybe this is an opportunity for people like Bo Dallas, Eric Rowan, Nikki Cross, who WWE didn't seem to have much to do with.
Wow.
Maybe this is it.
Can you imagine being the person telling Christian Cage that he didn't have it?
Yeah.
If there was one guy in pro wrestling that you'd pick, oh yeah, he's got it. Like, yeah, it's Christian Cage right now with the whole.
Right now, yes. Is he doing his best work right now in AEW as like a 50-year-old?
Still incredible. Still doing.
Good for him.
Still, oh my God, the gimmick is just incredible. He's like, he'll come out and shoot a promo to a guy, and it's always a guy who's lost his father, and he's like, "Your father's dead," and he's like, "You need a new father. I'll be your new father."
Oh my goodness, that is in such poor taste that it's actually delectable.
Yes, and it's all guys whose fathers have really died. I know. Listen, I'm a father. He's always like, I'm a father to. He's like, whoever his stables it right here. I know you don't have a father because your father's dead. And it's just like the crowd goes, oh no. And it's like, once you know that the wrestler in the ring is going to get that, he's going to say it to him, you're like, it's going to come. You're like, oh no, he's going to say something about his father, isn't he? And then he hits it, and the whole crowd goes, oh no.
It's like his 5 moves of doom. They're waiting for that key spot. It's the promo spot fest with Christian Cage bringing up dead relatives. And wearing a turtleneck.
Also,
no sleeves.
Wearing a turtleneck. Nobody's ever really done that. And I'm like, wow, more people should have done this. He looks like such a jerk.
George Steinbrenner. It's the Steinbrenner look.
Yes. It is a Steinbrenner look. That's true.
Former New York Yankees owner who has passed away, George Steinbrenner. So his son, Hal Steinbrenner, now owns the team and maybe we need a crossover. Christian Cage has to show up and talk about Hal Steinbrenner's dead father. I'd love that. If they ever reboot Seinfeld, which Jerry Seinfeld and Michael Richards may be talking about pairing up for another sitcom-style show, maybe they could revisit that. Hal Steinbrenner now owns the Yankees, and Christian Cage could be the Keith Hernandez who shows up for the cameo.
Now, you've heard rumors of Jerry Seinfeld and Michael Richards?
I did.
Wow. That is wild.
Apparently, this was described to me. I was guesting on a podcast recently with an actor comedian who's become a friend since I've crossed paths with him in the online and entertainment world. And he was telling me about it. And as he was describing it, he was saying, yeah, it's Jerry Seinfeld and Michael Richards doing sort of an un-PC comedy series. And I'm like, so they've already done that. It was called Seinfeld.
Yes.
And it ran in the 90s. It was, for like 8 seasons. It was pretty popular. Pretty big show. Yeah. They did that. So they're just going to do it again. Okay. They're just going to run it back.
Richards obviously got canceled and then kind of flaked out for the whole rant that he had.
He has a book out, since we were talking about wrestling books.
Oh, really?
Michael Richards has a book out.
Yeah.
Tell us in the chat, what do you remember Michael Richards from most of all, or where did you first see Michael Richards? I will tell you where I first saw Michael Richards.
SNL?
No.
Oh.
Michael Richards played Stanley Spadowski in Weird Al Yankovic's movie UHF.
Wow. What a pickup, right?
Yes.
Was he good in it?
That was pre-Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And I saw that movie, and I remember I was writing a college entrance essay at the time to try and get into college. And they said, write about a work of art, perhaps a film you've seen. And I'm like, okay, I don't really watch art or things, so I'm writing about UHF. And I wrote about how Michael Richards deserved an Academy Award for his portrayal of world's greatest janitor and TV star, Stanley Spadowski, janitor for UHF station and also accidental host of Stanley Spadowski's Funhouse.
Now, did it go over well? You got into college?
I got into the college and eventually graduated from it.
What college did you go to?
University of Scranton in northeastern Pennsylvania. Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Oh, like The Office Scranton.
Like The Office Scranton, and before that, the Bill Murray, Woody Harrelson movie Kingpin.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that was in Scranton.
Yes, Woody Harrelson's character lived in Scranton as he was down on his luck after his professional bowling career ended after he got an injury that caused him to have a prosthetic bowling hand.
Interesting. That's Bill Murray and
Woody Harrelson in Kingpin.
Bill Murray also in Pennsylvania for Groundhog's Day.
Yes, Groundhog Day for out in Punxsutawney, Phil. Yes, in Punxsutawney.
Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, and Scranton, Pennsylvania. Interesting decisions to hang around there in Pennsylvania. He must have just liked it.
I don't know. He is also a minor league baseball owner. I forget which team it is, but every now and then he shows up and it's a big deal for everybody in attendance, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
oh, Bill Murray's here. He's also a huge Cubs fan, to bring it back to Chicago where tonight's Smackdown was.
Look at that. Look at that callback. That's a great callback.
Right.
We were talking about Chicago in the hour and 15 minutes ago, you know?
Right. And what a great crowd they have there. Chicago, of course, the White Sox broke their curse of Shoeless Joe Jackson when they won the World Series in 2005. And then the Chicago Cubs broke their curse in 2016, winning the World Series. I was disappointed when the Cubs won, only because Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam fame and other projects wrote a song called Someday We'll Go All the Way about being a long-suffering Cubs fan. And it was just a great song. And then the Cubs won the freaking World Series. And now it's like you can't listen to the song anymore because they won the World Series. And like, I don't know. I wanted the Cubs to lose so badly because I liked the song.
Ali Karar, Ali Karar.
Hello and welcome to Don't Bury the Lead, my friend.
Welcome, welcome. We're glad you joined.
Do we have a translation up there for his comment? I'm already saying I enjoy your comment and thank you from it, even though I can't read it.
Let's see if I can't figure out a way to translate.
Throw it into Google Translate or something.
I wonder if I could. No, I can only reply. Can you type this in English and send it to us? And if not, I'll tell you what. We'll figure out a way to see what you said.
Can you just copy it with the cursor from the chat and throw it into Google Translate?
Yeah, it won't let me get it from the chat, unfortunately.
I am also not there at the moment.
I'll have to see if I can get it from the YouTube. Hang on.
If I go to right now our live stream, is it in the... Okay, I see his chat comment here. I am mousing over it and highlighting it. I am copying it. Google Translate. Let's go. Google Translate.
We're almost there,
Paste.
Ali.
It is detecting Arabic. The gang's story ends soon, God willing. Which gang? Which gang? This sounds like a great prediction here.
The gang.
Which gang is this talking about? The Wyatt family. Since we were talking about that most recently, do you think the Wyatt family has a short lifespan here in the WWE?
Yeah, Ali. The gang.
That's an interesting wrinkle that they're throwing a lot of this out there, but maybe it's not for long. There are a lot of factions in the WWE. Maybe it's getting crowded up there. I like the Bloodline. I like Judgment Day. Imperium is kind of disbanding. So maybe there is room for another big faction, and maybe that is the Wyatt family. The Wyatt Six.
Hey, Ali Karar. How's about you subscribe too, if you'd like? That'd be really helpful. That really helps.
Thank you for the comment.
Out a lot and appreciate the comment. I think Parker, you might have left by now. Parker Curry, if you could subscribe and yeah, let's. We did all we could for that comment. That's our answer. And
I love it. If you're talking Wyatt family, you think the gang is going to be short-lived, then I don't know. I haven't seen. I don't remember. And John, we've talked about this before. I don't remember Bray Wyatt in his heyday. I only saw them trying to bring it back during the tail end of the Vince McMahon era, and maybe Vince McMahon was behind some of the awkwardness of Bray Wyatt trying to not be the Fiend again.
Yeah.
But also being told, no, that sells T-shirts, be the Fiend. So I'm going to leave this one with an open mind. I don't have any recollection of the Wyatt family, the stable, Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas. Although, John, you have told me he had a Bo Leave catchphrase, like he was a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
I love it. We're getting a lot of watch hours here. It is officially Saturday in southern New Jersey. We are into the Italian Goodbye and have been for several minutes.
Oh, dumb. How was the burger challenge, burger championship?
Gotta love the burgers. I was the judge for Battle of the Burgers at Clayton Day. The winning burger was the black and blue burger. It was basically a blue cheese burger. Simple toppings. There were 3 restaurants that submitted a total of 5 burgers because 2 of them submitted 2 burgers each, 2 different varieties each. The restaurant that won just submitted 1 burger. It was their best one. And I will tell you, they won because they did not overdo it.
Yeah.
The trend in burgers is to try and make everything spicy or extra sweet, like sweet heat and spicy, and to maybe put a lot of toppings on and maybe even sauces. So at some point, you may even wonder, am I eating a burger? It could be anything.
Yeah.
Now, we did not get a bad burger in the bunch. They were all very good. I recommend each of the restaurants here in Clayton, New Jersey, where I live, that participated. They're all excellent. I've been customers at each of them. But the burger that won did not overdo it. And they did not go for the sweet heat, the try and be extra spicy. It was blue cheese, which gives you a sort of a pungent savoriness. And then just raw onion gave it the little bit of kick. They didn't go for the caramelized onion to make it sweet. They went raw onion, which was good. And then the tomato and lettuce were fresh. It was a well-prepared burger.
What kind of roll?
Just a regular, looked like brioche bun.
Okay.
Again, not going crazy on the bun, but it was a good bun. It was a well-prepared burger, and the blue cheese was a very good touch.
Now, were you the only judge, or did you have other judges this year?
3 judges. In the previous year, I showed up in my wrestling garb as Doc Lester. I cut a promo that was used to advertise the event in the week leading up to it as Doc Lester. And then I showed up as Doc Lester and kind of hosted the Battle of the Burgers. There were only 2 restaurants entered in it last year. And my fellow judge was Barrett Brooks, former professional football player, not only for the Eagles, but I believe he won a Super Bowl ring with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So again, a Pennsylvania connection from tonight. So last year it was me and Barrett Brooks.
He's a bit of a celebrity, like a Philadelphia celebrity.
Yes,
Yeah.
right? He still does Philadelphia sports media, doesn't he?
Yeah, because you said Barrett Brooks. I knew, oh, yeah, he does all the post-game stuff. He does the Eagles post-game, which is a very well-viewed show. That's watched by a lot of people because usually the game ends, the Eagles are on, and then they have a bunch of those 5 people yell at each other, and it's very entertaining. He's one of the guys.
He's one of the guys who yells at each other. Yes, excellent. It was good meeting him last year for the judge. This year it was just 2 other people from somewhere in like town bureaucracy. So I wasn't thrilled about that, but they're friendly people out of Clayton Day, and we all judged the burgers.
No Barrett Brooks?
No Barrett Brooks this year.
Where was he?
I don't know, but having Barrett Brooks judge a burger contest because he's a former football player. I mean, he looks like a guy who could put away burgers.
Yeah.
And I may not look like a guy who can put away burgers, but I can put away burgers.
Yeah.
Like this year we had some of our what we would do was cut a burger into quarters and then each sample a quarter, and then there'd be just like a quarter left over. And some of the judges were just like taking a bite or 2 and putting the rest aside. And I'm thinking, oh, this is not how I do it. This is not how I roll.
I'm eating this right now.
I finished the entire quarter that was given to me. And frankly, after we're done judging, if there are, just leftover quarters or leftover halves, I'm heading for those as well.
Yeah. Hey, Dom, I'll tell you
Yes.
what. We stretch this bad boy out as long as we can.
We did.
The last YouTube person just dropped. They listened to all this nonsense during Italian Goodbye. So hey, I'll take
Fantastic. We love the Italian Goodbye.
Hey, listen, thanks for everyone that participated tonight. It was a lot of fun. We had a ton of people on Twitter. We had a good amount of people on YouTube, up to 4 and 5 people at certain points, which is really great for the watch time. And I think we're getting a lot of content out of this. So, if you're watching this after the show, go ahead and subscribe because, why not? It's free. Just do it. And, my name's Jonathan Dell. Dom, thanks so much for joining tonight. Really appreciate it. And everyone out there, have a great rest of your evening.